Hi all, I've done quite a few Marvel movies, so let's go on to the DC movies. Starting with well-known 1978 superhero movie starring Christopher Reeve, which is Superman the Movie. So in 1973, Ilya Salkind first came up with an idea for a Superman movie. In November 1974, after a long difficult process with DC Comics, Ilya and his father Alexander and their partner Pierre Spengler have bought the rights of Superman. The filmmakers felt it was best to film Superman and Superman 2 back to back and to make a negative pickup deal with Warner Brothers. William Goldman was approached to write the movie. Lee Brackett was considered for screenplay. Ilford Bester, who began writing a film treatment. Alexander felt, however, that Bester was not famous enough, so he hired Mario Puzo to write the screenplay at a $600,000 salary. Francis Ford Coppola, William Friedkin, Peter Yates, John Gulliman, Ronald Neame and Sam Peckinpah were considered to direct the movie, so did Richard Lester, who later directed Superman 2 and 3. George Lucas was considered to direct the film, but he was busy working on Star Wars at the time. Ilya wanted Steven Spielberg to direct the film. Alexander wanted to wait till the first Jaws movie came out to see how the reviews would go, and it was successful. By the time Spielberg was asked, he was focusing on his work Close Encounters of the Third Kind. Guy Hamilton was hired as a director, while Puzo delivered his script for Superman and Superman 2 in July 1975. There was a lot of rewrite for Jor-El due to the cast and crew commitments. The script was finished in July 1976 and had a camp tone, including Telly Savalas' cameo. The scripts for Superman 1 and 2 were now at 400 pages combined. Mark Robson was originally to direct the film, but the producers picked Richard Donner instead after he was working on Damien Omen 2 when he was hired in January 1977. For $1 million to direct Superman 1 and 2. Richard Donner felt it was best to start from scratch, and he was dissatisfied with the campy script and brought in Tom Mankiewicz to perform a rewrite. Mankiewicz conceived having each Kryptonian family wear a crest resembling a different letter, justifying the S on Superman's costume. Christopher Reeve plays Kal-El, aka Clark Kent, later known as Superman, who was born on Krypton and raised on Earth. He has superpowers such as fly, super strength, and can't die unless it's by kryptonite. He uses his powers to save people and planet Earth, keeping his identity secret as Clark Kent. He became newspaper reporter in Daily Planet at Metropolis, and I think Reeve is perfect as Superman. Definitely my favourite casting for the character. Jeff East plays young Clark Kent, but voice dubbed by Christopher Reeve in the final cut. Brilliant casting. In terms of casting the lead role, there are many casts considered for the role, such as James Caan, James Brolin, Lyle Waggoner, Christopher Walken, Nick Nolte, Jon Voight, and Perry King. James Caan said he just couldn't wear that suit. Neil Diamond and Arnold Schwarzenegger both fought so hard for the role. Robert Redford was offered, but he was too famous. Burt Reynolds also turned down the role. Sylvester Stallone was considered for the role. Paul Newman got offered for the role as Superman, Lex Luthor and Jor-El. Chris Christopherson and Charles Bronson were also considered. Warren Beatty turned down the role. At first, Christopher Reeve wasn't to be casted as he was too young and skinny, but eventually Reeve got screen tested, which impressed everyone. He was told to wear a muscle suit to produce the desired muscular physique. Reeve said no to that. He was never a Superman fan, nor he read the comics. However, he watched George Reeves' Adventures of Superman TV series. Marlon Brando plays Jor-El, Superman's biological father from Krypton. He's so good in this. Gene Hackman plays Lex Luthor, a criminal mastermind who's the enemy of Superman. He gives fantastic performance. But like I said, Robert Redford was considered for the role, but he turned it down as Marlon Brando's casting for Jor-El caused Hackman casted as Lex, as he wanted deliberately to work with Brando, impressed by the producer's ability to cast famous actors in respective roles. Warner Brothers decided to distribute the film internationally rather than simply domestically. The filmmakers made it a priority to shoot all of Brando's and Hackman's footage because they were committed to other films immediately. Plus, Hackman hesitated shaving off his head and moustache. So Richard Donner made a deal with Hackman that if he shaved off his moustache, he would shave off his own. Hackman relented, and when he returned to the set, Donner had revealed that he was sporting a fake moustache the whole time, which caused Hackman to laugh. Margot Kidder plays Lois Lane, the reporter of Daily Planet and Clark's love interest. She has a great chemistry with Reeve. Anne Archer, Susan Blakely, Leslie Ann Warren, Deborah Raffin and Stockard Channing were considered for the role, and being screen tested, Starmaster suggested Kidder to take the part. Ned Beatty plays Otis, Lex's henchman. He's pretty funny.
She's got her own place, Otisburg? It's a little bitty place. Otisburg? Okay, I just wipe it off.
And plus the character is first created in this movie. Jackie Cooper plays Perry White, the boss in Daily Planet, who's similar to J. Jonah Jameson. He gives off great performance. Keenan Wynn was originally to play him, but he had to drop out due to his heart disease. Glenn Ford and Phyllis Thaxter plays Jonathan and Martha Kent, Clark's adoptive parents. I think they're brilliant. Jonathan works as a farmer, and he's pretty much like Uncle Ben, except he died of heart attack, which is an emotional scene.
Oh no.
Those things I can do. All those powers. I couldn't even save him.
Apparently, Phyllis Thaxter was Ilya Salkind's mother-in-law. Valerie Perrine plays Eve Tessmacher, Lex's girlfriend and accomplice, who's not so much keen on Lex's evil plans, especially when he fires a nuclear missiles at her mum's hometown. Valerie is great as Tessmacher, and plus this character is created in this movie also. Mark McClure plays Jimmy Olsen, a photographer at the Daily Planet. I really like him, he's canny. Jeff East was considered for the role. Terrence Stamp plays General Zod, leader of the 3 Kryptonian criminals banished to the Phantom Zone, and I think he's perfect for the role.
You will bow down before me! Both you! And then one day, your ass!
Apparently the film and its first sequel were originally conceived as one film, with Zod and his evil conspirators returning later in the film to challenge Superman, but the writing was so long that the producers elected to split into 2 parts. Both parts began shooting simultaneously, but production on the sequel was halted partway through due to the budget and time commitments. Terrence Stamp returned for the second movie to be the main villain. Sarah Douglas and Jack O'Halloran plays Ursa and Non, Zod's henchmen. They're brilliant as well. Caroline Munro was originally to play Ursa, but she turned down for her performance as Naomi in The Spy Who Loved Me. Susanna York plays Lara, Superman's biological mother. She's great too. Trevor Howard plays the first Elder, head of Kryptonian Council. Maria Schell plays Vaughn A, a top Kryptonian scientist. Harry Andrews plays the second Elder, council member. Kirk Allion and Noel Neal, who were the first actors to play Superman and Lois Lane, did a cameo as Lois' parents in a deleted scene, which is cool. Also, did you know, William Russell, who played Ian Chesterton in Doctor Who, appeared in this movie as 8th Elder, which is so cool. Larry Hagman and Rex Reed also makes cameos. I think the casts are perfect. The direction by Richard Donner is phenomenal. The story and everything is so faithful to the comics, and the effects is pretty good for its time. Jerry Goldsmith was originally to do the music for the movie, but he got dropped out due to his commitment, so he went to John Williams instead. And I think it's fantastic, so iconic and memorable. It really suits Superman perfectly, and ironically Jerry Goldsmith did the music for Supergirl film. There's some great atmosphere on Krypton. It is so cool seeing a spaceship flying to Earth with Infant inside it.
Which Einstein called his theory of relativity. Chang is right. Point out the
Not gonna lie, my gran recalled crying watching that scene, which is because the movie came out the year after my dad was born. The origin story is amazing. I like the fact that Clark managed to kick the ball into space.
It's out of the park!
Also when he's running faster than a train. Would be cool if we can do that. There's amazing speech from Jor-El.
My son, as we break through the bars of your earthly confinement, traveling through time and space.
And it's pretty entertaining watching Clark's clumsiness.
Oh, thank you. I'm sorry.
I'm sorry.
But when he's Superman, he's badass.
Hey, Jim! Whoa!
Excuse me.
That's a bad outfit!
And like I said, Christopher Reeve nails it, and it's a great introduction for Superman in the iconic scene with the helicopter. Also brilliant line.
Easy, miss. I've got you.
You've got me! Who's got you?
Speaking of brilliant lines,
Hi there. Something wrong with the elevator?
I love how chill and friendly he is towards criminals while catching them.
Bad vibrations?
Also that he got the cat down off the tree.
Come on. It's all right. Here you go, miss.
Gee, thanks, mister.
And it's so funny where Otis gave Lex his bathrobe while still in the pool.
And Otis, by the way, the next time, put my robe on after I'm out of the pool.
Great line. Superman and Lois flying scene is pretty romantic and pretty iconic.
You need to be loved.
The bit where Superman tries to save the world from earthquakes is superb. And it's so sad that Lois has died. Superman screaming and the way he flies off is so effective. At least he turned back time to fix it. Stephen Hawking said if you ever train that track expands the entire world and it can travel around that track 7 times per second, then theoretically you can travel forward in time but you can't go back in time. Maybe Superman is Superman, so that's how he can do it. So after Lex and Otis are in jail, the movie ends with Superman breaking the fourth wall. By smiling at us right over there with the likes of Tom Baker as Doctor Who smiling at the camera. They both nailed it. I think this movie is brilliant. The story is well supported to comics. And of course we get the 3-hour extended version where they added deleted scenes including what happened to Tessmacher at the end, which had been worked for decades until 2017. It was a thought the quality of the extended network TV version was inferior to any theatrical or previous home video release because it was mastered in 16mm and a mono sound mix, done as by the time the extended cut was fixed in 1981 stereo was not available in television broadcasts. However, during an inventory of the Warner Brothers library, an IP master of the full 188-minute television version was discovered. This 18-reel master was not marked with an aspect ratio, but the print was inspected and, as it turned out, was in proper 2.351 Panavision ratio. This was the source of the Warner Archive Collection Blu-ray release of what would officially be called the Superman the Movie Extended Cut, issued on 3rd of October 2017. The video release was visually restored by Warner Brothers imaging department, and other than the opening and end credits, the film is presented in enhanced version of the mono TV sound mix. This particular release also includes another version discussed below. This movie was listed as best superhero movies ever made. Roger Ebert gave the film 4 out of 4 stars and puts it on his great movie list.
2 big yeses for The Man of Steel.
I highly recommend this movie. It is my favourite Superman film. So next movie coming up is Superman 2. So this movie was shot during the same time as the first movie. In July 1977, Richard Lester, who directed The Three Musketeers and The Four Musketeers, joined the project as an uncredited associate producer and intermediary on Superman to mediate the relationship between Richard Donner and the Salkinds, who were no longer on spoken terms. After Lex, Otis and Tessmacher scenes were shot for Superman 2, the Salkinds put the movie on hold, which Donner had shot 75% of, to focus on finishing the first movie off. During the hiatus in shooting, the Salkinds agreed to a negative pickup deal with Warner Brothers, granting the studio rights to foreign distribution and television airings in exchange for more financing. Donner understandably wanted to direct the movie in his terms, After the first Superman movie was released in December 1978, Donner was promoting Superman in Europe, which is why he was unavailable, so Guy Hamilton was approached to take over directing Superman 2, but he was unavailable. So Richard Lester was reached just after he finished working on Cuba. In the end, on March the 15th, 1979, the Salkinds decided to replace Donner with Richard Lester, which caused controversy amongst the cast and crew. There's some reshoots made. Christopher Reeve was initially unavailable as he agreed to star in Somewhere in Time before the filming began. 5 months into production shutdown, by which time his contract to shoot both Superman films back-to-back had expired, he had to be available 5 days after Somewhere in Time was finished. Reeve had reservations with Lester and the Newman script following the departure of Donner. During the renegotiation of his contract, Reeve agreed to the financial terms but wanted more artistic control. Filming for Superman 2 recommenced in September 1979 and completed on March the 10th, 1980. Some scenes filmed by Donner had to be added due to budgetary reasons and actors being unavailable. Those guys returned. Clifton James played Sheriff J.W. Just a sheriff, but a different character from James Bond.
Did I hear right? That son of a bitch give me an order? You gotta learn to kick ass. You want to be a peacemaker.
He is a great actor. E.G. Marshall plays the President of the United States. He's great too. There's great opening. Especially the music and the Krypton scene.
Alert.
I like the title sequence using footages from the first movie. Like a recap, as it reminds me of Sam Raimi's Spider-Man trilogy. Eiffel Tower scene was pretty intense, and I thought the moon scene was well done.
Come on, Houston! Oh, no!
It looks so real, and poor Otis' escape doesn't go as planned. There's a brilliant scene where Superman saves the kid.
There you go.
Again!
No, I'm sorry. Only one ride to a customer.
I like how Ursa discovers her powers.
Did you see what I did? I have powers beyond reason here.
We all have them, my dear.
Not to mention that the army can't take them down. And Paul Clark, who becomes human, gets attacked in the cafe.
Yeah?
You really do feel sorry for him. Lex is so brilliant with Zod and Ursa and on.
Lex Luthor. Possibly you've heard the name, the greatest criminal mind on Earth.
The best scene in this movie has got to be the battle in Metropolis.
Thank God. Get him!
Come to me, son of Jor-El! Kneel before Zod!
The fact that there's no use of CGI is brilliant. Also the ending where Zod's off. As well as Ursa and Non. At least Clark has his revenge. And I think Superman 2 is brilliant. I can definitely see why it's considered as one of the best comic book movies ever made from 1980s. So after the film released and became a successful, people were interested to see Richard Donner's vision on Superman 2 and begging Warner Brothers to make it happen. In the original release of Superman 2, where Zod, Ursa and Non were sentenced, the difference is that the first movie, Jor-El was there, but in the second movie, he was nowhere to be seen. So after Marlon Brando passed away in 2004, his family granted permission to feature Jor-El in the director's cut as well as Superman Returns. The fact that Richard Donner never finished Superman 2 in its original form, there are certain scenes that was filmed by Richard Lester along with newly created visual effects, shot an early screen test of one pivotal scene featuring Christopher Reeve and Margot Kidder had to be added to the film in order to create a finished work. The movie also has an early developed alternate opening and ending that were both envisioned before the theatrical release of Superman, in which the sequel's original ending was reworked as the final to the first movie. Richard Donner said if he finished the film in 1980 he would have shot different ending, so his cut of Superman 2 was released on DVD, Blu-ray and HD DVD on November the 28th, 2006. It dedicated to Christopher Reeve's memory, who sadly passed away in 2004, as well as the other legends that's been involved in the film, sadly. And the movie received positive reviews. So that's Superman 2 analysis. Can't wait to talk about Superman 3. Richard Lester has been interested in writing at least 2 more Superman films, which he intended to allow Tom Mankiewicz to direct, and that he wanted Brainiac in this movie, although after Richard Donner left the franchise, the film was formally announced at the 33rd Cannes Film Festival in May 1980, months before Superman 2 was released. In December 1980, Ilya Salkind wrote a treatment for Superman 3 with Brainiac, Mr. Mxyzptlk and Supergirl. The treatment was released online in 2007. The Mr. Mxyzptlk played in the outline varies from his good-humoured comic counterpart, as he used his abilities to cause serious harm. Dudley Moore was considered for the role. Meanwhile, in the same treatment, Brainiac was from the Kolu and had discovered Supergirl in the same way that Superman was found by the Kents. Brainiac plays as a surrogate father to Supergirl and eventually fell in love with his daughter, who did not reincorporate his feelings. As she falling in love with Superman, Brainiac retails by using a personality machine to corrupt and manipulate Superman. The movie climax would have seen Superman, Supergirl, Brainiac, Jimmy Olsen and Lana Lang time travel to the Middle Ages for a final confrontation in a fiefdom taking over by Brainiac, which sounds interesting. After defeating him and leaving him behind as a helpless serf, Superman and Supergirl would have either been married at either the end of Superman 3 or 4. The treatment was rejected by Warner Brothers as being too complex and expensive to shoot, and Salkind wanted to save the character of Supergirl for a spin-off. Because of the high budget required for the series, the Salkinds considered selling the rights to the series to Dino De Laurentiis. The significance of computers to the plot, the villains planned to corrupt Superman, and the splitting of him into a good and evil half would be carried over into the final film. The movie was originally called Superman vs. Superman, but obviously changed to Superman 3. Those characters returned. Sadly, Margot Kidder had small scenes as Lois Lane, and Gene Hackman didn't return as Lex Luthor after the whole thing with Salkind, Richard Donner and the film commitments, which I won't dwell on. Richard Pryor plays August Gus Gorman, a comedian computer genius who works for Ross Webster, and evidently gets mixed up in Webster's evil plan to kill Superman. His scene dressing up as an army on stage giving Superman the crystal really crackled me up.
I don't have to tell you that America leads the world, and all I can say is, thank the Lord!
Richard Pryor told Johnny Carson on The Tonight Show how much he enjoys watching Superman 2. The Salkinds were eager to cast him in a prominent role in the third film, riding on Pryor's success in films like Silver Streak, Stir Crazy and The Toy. Pryor accepted $5 million salary to be in the film. After the film is released, Pryor signed a 5-year contract with Columbia Pictures worth $40 million. Lana Lang in this movie is played by Anita O'Toole, Clark's old friend from high school. She's great as Lana, and there is a nice reunion between Clark and Lana.
Lana Lang? Boy, it's great to see you. Oh.
And of course, Anita later played Martha Kent in Smallville, which is cool. Robert Vaughn plays Ross Webster, a villain super wealthy industrialist and philanthropist. After when he's prevented from taking over the world, coffee supplied by Superman, he plans to destroy him. Rob is great as Ross the villain. He does sort of remind me of Lex Luthor. Annie Ross plays Vera Webster, Ross's sister and assistant in his corporation and evil plans. She's pretty badass. Pamela Stevenson plays Lorelei, Ambrosia Ross, assistant who falls in love with Superman.
Well, I hope you don't expect me to save you, because I don't do that anymore.
Don't worry.
The three villains are pretty much like Lex, Otis and Tessmacher, which is cool. Gavin O'Herlihy plays Brad Wilson, Lana's ex-boyfriend. Frank Oz originally had a cameo as a surgeon, but the scene was deleted from the final cut. However, it was later included in the TV extended version of the film, so they began principal photography on 21st of June 1982. Most of the interior scenes were filmed at Pinewood Studios outside London, like the first two films. The junkyard scene was shot at Pinewood's backlot. The coal mine scene where Superman leaves Gus was filmed at Battersea Power Station, where Richard Lester filmed scenes from the Beatles film Help. Most exteriors were shot at Calgary, Alberta. Because of Canada's tax breaks from the film companies, Superman's drinking binge was filmed at St. Louis Hotel in downtown East Village, Calgary, while other scenes like slapstick comedy opening were shot several blocks to the west. While Supercomputer was created in Pinewood's 007 stage, exteriors were shot at Glen Canyon in Utah. The special effects team from the first two films have returned, plus the effects do get better and better and better. Atari, part of Warner, created the video game computer animation for the missile defense scene, which is cool. I love the way Clark and Jimmy give each other thumbs up.
Goes with the territory, Mr. Kent.
Also where Clark sneezes at the bowling ball and breaks the Skittles. Pretty sweet. And it's pretty funny where Clark was eating dog food. He's so concealing his identity.
That's Buster's dog food.
Good.
As I don't think Superman would have liked dog food. And plus it was pretty intense where Lana's son was about to get hit by a combine harvester. And it's so cool how Gus hacks the computer system. It's pretty amusing where Red and Green Man from the traffic lights were fighting each other. I do get a bit of the vibes from The Simpsons Treehouse of Horror, where computer system got drunk for taking screenshots. The fight between Clark and Superman in Junkyard was awesome.
Hey, come on, chicken! Let me get you. Get on my nerves for a long time. Get it!
I think Christopher Reeve really pulled it off, playing evil Superman as well as the good Superman. And that's what I call beating yourself up.
Well, turn on the light.
Where's the light switch?
Where do you usually find the light switch?
I don't know.
Right near the door. My favourite scene has got to be where Vera turns into a supercomputer. It looks terrifying.
What is that?
Plus people I know were scared watching that scene when they're kids. Plus watching this when you're 5 or 6, it would probably give you nightmares. Plus the movie has a good ending. It's pretty funny. I don't think it's bad as people say it. Some criticise the campy tone and comedy, particular Richard Pryor. Plus, I think he's a fantastic comedian. The effects has really got better. Christopher Reeve is perfect as Superman. There are great villains. Supercomputer and Fighting Junkyard are brilliant scenes. There's lots of good stuff in this movie. Like the first two films, there are extended version for Superman 3 and released on ABC. The opening credits were in outer space. It's got edited version of the film's end credit theme music, serving as an opening theme with number of scenes, including additional dialogue, but not added into any of the official VHS, DVD or Blu-ray cuts of the film. The Superman 3 Deluxe Edition was released in 2006 alongside Superman Returns, included these scenes in its extra feature section as deleted scenes. Next is a spin-off made by TriStar Pictures, and that is Supergirl. As the Salkinds bought the rights of Superman, they also bought Supergirl as well, if they make any sequels or spin-off. Supergirl was originally to appear in Superman 3, setting up for her spin-off, but she got removed. In April 1982, Salkinds announced Supergirl movie to be produced before working on the third Superman movie. After the negative reviews of the film, Salkind used the Supergirl movie to freshen the franchise. Ilya Salkind said it was something different. To an extent, he thought it was a very different area to explore. Originally, the story of the movie is Supergirl rescuing Superman, who would be her cousin and mentor, but the film was rewritten as Christopher Reeve declined to return. But the publicity photo of his Superman is seen in the bedroom, which is cool. The producers couldn't get Richard Lester to direct the movie. Robert Wise also turned down. Janet Swartz, if I pronounce the name correctly, who's best known to direct Jaws 2, Somewhere in Time, and later direct Santa Claus the movie, got chosen after meeting Christopher Reeve, who had praised Somewhere in Time. Swartz sought advice from Richard Donner over some technical aspects of the production. Salkinds financed the film completely on their own budget. Warner Brothers was still involved in the production since the studio owns the rights to the film, and its parent company, Warner Communications, was also the company of DC Comics, owners of all Superman and his family copyrights. The movie was filmed, edited, and overseen under the supervision of Warner Brothers and originally scheduled to be released in July 1984. However, the relationship between the studio and the partnership was strained after the critical and commercial underperformance of Superman 3. In June 1983, during the making of the movie, the Salkinds insisted on moving the opening date from the summer to the holiday season in order to avoid competition with other major films and the 1984 Summer Olympics in Los Angeles. The studio said it could not provide a holiday slot or relinquish its distribution rights of Supergirl to the Salkinds, who gave the distribution rights to TriStar Pictures. Supergirl movie continued overseas, however, and received a royal film premiere in the United Kingdom in 1st of July. Helen Slater plays Kara Zor-El, aka Linda Lee, and Supergirl, a Kryptonian from Argo City, who's the cousin of Superman with similar abilities. I think she's great as Supergirl. Apparently there are hundreds of actresses screen test for the role. Demi Moore and Brooke Shields were rejected because Ilya and Swartz wanted to use the unknown actress, so they picked Helen Slater, who was paid $75,000 in the quarter picture deal. She had 4 months of physical training to prepare for the role. Prototype costume based on the comic book costume was only used at screen test. Mark McClure returns as Jimmy Olsen, who appeared in all 5 movies, including Supergirl movie, which is cool. Faye Dunaway plays Selina, a witch who has a magic enhanced by the Omega Hedron. The character is badass. Dolly Parton was considered for the role, but she turned it down. Hart Bochner, who plays Ethan, who's in love with Supergirl, goes by the name Linda Lee. Peter O'Toole plays Zalta, a Kryptonian scientist, talented actor. Mia Farrow plays Alira in Z, Zor-El's wife and Kara's mum. She's great. Brenda Vaccaro plays Bianca, henchwoman of Selina. She's pretty entertaining. Peter Cook plays Nigel, who's Selina's acquaintance. Simon Ward plays Zor-El, Kara's father. Maureen Teefy plays Lucy Lane, Lois Lane's sister, who became friends with Kara, who goes by the name Linda Lee, like I said. David Healy plays Mr. Danvers, the head teacher. The effects on flying around the city at night is pretty good for its time. The Phantom Zone looks cool for low budget in its time, where Supergirl is sent to and finds Zalta there.
It wouldn't work. You'd be swept into a singularity if it didn't work now. Forget I mentioned it. Have a squirt instead.
It's a sad scene where Supergirl wanted Zalta to stay with her, but he falls. Jerry Goldsmith does a great job with the music. Sadly, Ethan, who's in love with Linda and that he knows she's Supergirl, understands she must save Argo City and that he might not be able to see her again. Supergirl returns in the Omega Hedron to a darkened Argo City, which then lights up again. Apparently there are materials that was cut for the 105-minute version of the film, including the Argo City opening, which was originally longer. There's also flying ballet, though included in the international cut, as Supergirl lands on Earth and surprised by herself capable of almost anything, particularly flying and also growing flowers with her heat vision, as well as super strength to crack rocks into dust. There are scenes where Selina, Bianca and Nigel were cut. The introduction of Selina was merely a few lines long. When the Omega Hedron lands on Earth, and Selina takes it for use of its magic and it establishes Selina as an impatient witch who is sick of her mentor and lover, Nigel, a warlock. The later scenes were not seen before the 2000 DVD release from Anchor Bay Entertainment, including Selina using Omega Hedron for the first time, and she finds out that she can control herself when under the inspiration, namely roast chicken scene. Selina throws a party later for her followers, and deleted material shows Nigel insulting Selina after being dismissed. Nigel then gets friendly with another party member on whom Selina pulls a vicious magical prank. There are also scenes where Linda Lee making a temporary home in the city of Midvale, and an extended version of the tractor scene kills a civilian, but didn't make it to either the international or the 2000 director's cut. Another deleted scene shows Supergirl has a hard time finding the Omega Hedron because Selina keeps it in a Lee box, demonstrating that Supergirl's limitations are similar to those of her cousin. Also, the Phantom Zone scenes are extended. After the movie is released, Helen Slater later played Clark Kent's biological mother, Lara, in Smallville series. Then Supergirl's adopted mother, Eliza Danvers, in Supergirl TV show. Then she returns as a CGI Supergirl for a cameo in the Flash movie, alongside a CGI of Christopher Reeve's Superman. The novel version of the movie is written by Norma Fox Mazer and released in 1984. Coming up next is Superman 4: The Quest for Peace. So the Salkinds plan to make the fourth Superman movie if Superman 3 grossed at least $40 million despite the negative response for the third movie. It grossed $80.2 million. Even the commercial failures of Supergirl in their next film, Santa Claus the Movie, comes along. They caused them financial strain they began to consider if the franchise had run its course. Elia Salkind agreed to sell Superman franchise to Menachem Golan and Yoram Globus of the Cannon Group Incorporated for $5 million in June 1985 after the negotiations during the 38th Cannes Film Festival. Christopher Reeve was considered to direct the movie, but he was allowed to direct some second unit scenes. He was ultimately deemed too inexperienced for the full-time job. Richard Donner said Cannon unsuccessfully asked him to return to the series. Wes Craven was considered, but him and Reeve didn't get along, so Reeve recommended Ron Howard, but Sidney J. Furie was chosen. Shortly before the production began at Elstree Studios on 27th of September 1986, Cannon reduced the budget from $36 million to $17 million. Part of the problem was that Cannon financed its problem by selling the television and home video rights in advance, which failed with films of a budget of over $5 million. The studio had also gone 6 years without a major hit. Also was narrowly saved from bankruptcy after a deal with Warner Brothers to provide $75 million to repay its loans in the exchange for distribution rights to its more films, including the fourth movie, which provided enough confidence in the studio for a $65 million line of the credit from the First Bank of Boston, The filming and the special effects crews of the first 3 films were replaced with cheaper Israeli crews during the making of the film. They filmed the Smallville scene in farmland outside Baldock in North Hertfordshire. Even though the one from the first movie was still standing in Blackie, Alberta, those actors reprised the role. Christopher Reeve as Superman is the best thing about the movie. He really does give off a great speech.
What our governments have been unwilling or unable to do. Effective immediately, I'm going to rid our planet of all nuclear weapons.
Apparently he was reluctant to return at first, bowing out from the planned cameo appearance in Supergirl, and he also came up with an idea of a storyline focused on the nuclear arms race in protest of the breakdown of the Reykjavik summit and President Ronald Reagan's military build-up and skepticalism towards arms control, and they accepted his story. Mark Pillow plays Nuclear Man, a villain of the story who was created by Lex with Superman's DNA. And he is voiced by Gene Hackman. This is Nuclear Man from a deleted scene played by Clive Mantle, somewhat more inhuman looking than his successor and resembled in both looks and personality the comic book character Bizarro. John Cryer plays Lenny Luthor, Lex's nephew. Great actor, and it's so cool that he later played Lex in Supergirl, Arrow and Batwoman CW series. Sam Wanamaker plays David Warfield, media mogul and tabloid publisher who owns the Daily Planet in this movie, who replaced Perry White. Muriel Hemingway plays Lacey Warfield, who's in love with Clark Kent and became the editor after her father taking over. Damien McLawhorn plays Jeremy, who wanted Superman to stop everyone with the nuclear missiles.
Well, I'd write a letter too that would do some good.
Who's Santa Claus?
No, Superman.
Superman.
It's pretty bizarre seeing William Hootkins and Jim Broadbent in this movie. William, who I've known him as Porkins in Star Wars, Major Eaton in Raiders of the Lost Ark, and Lieutenant Eckhart in Batman, and Jim Broadbent as Slughorn from Harry Potter and the Half-Blood Prince, and Pod Clock in The Borrowers.
What is that god-awful noise you're making?
It's pretty funny in the end where the thugs, including the one who looks a bit like Otis, whistled at Lex as he comes back to the labour camp to annoy him.
All right, Marshal, take him away. Thank you kindly, Superman.
So Mark Rosenthal, the writer, said in the gallery of deleted scenes included on the disc, there are approximately 45 minutes of the film that haven't been seen by the general public. They were deleted following a failed Southern California test screening, including the original Nuclear Man engaging Superman in battle outside the Metro Club and being destroyed by Superman. Not every deleted scene's made it to the deluxe edition of the DVD. Clark Kent visiting his adopted parents' grave. This scene was to have preceded the film's theatrical scene where Clark returns to Smallville to meet the contractor in hopes of selling or leasing the Kent farm. There's also another deleted scene with Lacey and Clark's romance showing them dancing in the Metro Club. Was also not released on disc. Cannon Films was thinking of doing the 5th film with Albert Pyun as the director, but Superman 4 was panned by everyone due to the special effects and plot holes. Cannon's bankruptcy ended up giving the rights back to the Salkinds. The story had Superman dying and resurrecting in the shrunken, bottled Krypton city of Kandor. Superman's death and rebirth ironically was written in the Death of Superman 1992 comic book. As no further films of Donnerverse were made, Superman's final line to Lex Luthor would have been, "See you in 20, proved pathetic as another Superman film was made. In late 1987, DC Comics created a comic of Superman 4, written by Bob Rozakis and drawn by Kurt Swan and Don Heck. The edition included different lines from the movie and events from the additional scenes. In place of a voiceover from Laura, in the early scene involving Superman flying the mysterious crystal, there was a projection of Jor-El as well. The Nuclear Man looks like Bizarro at one point. The movie has a different ending with Superman and Jeremy flying above the Earth, observing that the planet is, in reality, just one world, rather than divided worlds one sees on a man-made map. Also, Jeremy is seen in orbit with spacesuit, but in the deleted footage, he is not wearing any vacuum protection of any kind, as was Lacey Warfield when she was rescued from the second Nuclear Man by Superman. Plus, that ending appeared in the deluxe edition DVD incorporated in the deleted footage section. There is also a novel written by Bonnie Bryant, with deleted scenes included, and released in 1987 as well as the movie. But the next live-action Superman movie comes out nearly 2 decades later, starring Brandon Roth. The 2006 Superman Returns.